What is going on? I am Cole. It is Friday, and I'm here to talk about my most anticipated comics for March 2nd, 2022, and I'll get to that right after this. My most anticipated comics for March 2nd, 2022. And thank you for coming back after that. This is the part of my show where if you have seen this, you have probably seen me ramble about this, but I like to talk about it every single time. So for those of you who do not know, I use League of Comic Geek to figure out what books I'm talking about. So the one thing I want to bring up is that there is always the possibility that some of the stuff that I'm talking about might not actually show up on the week. I usually record this on Thursday and or Friday, and sometimes some of the stuff moves. As you can see, I know that I have mentioned Scout stuff specifically has not been great. It seems like I've been checking Previews World lately for them. And from what I can tell, I see Swamp Dogs here. If I come back, I see Swamp Dogs here. So I think things are starting to get caught back up. But as you can see here, Until My Knuckles Bleed #2 is supposedly coming out. But I'm pretty sure issue 1 just came out last week. So once again, these are not always going to be correct on what's coming out. Sometimes there are paper shortages or delays. But I wanted to let you know where I get my information so that when you go to your shop and you're like, you know what? Cole told me that this book was coming out. I'm not necessarily a liar. I just might be getting fed misinformation. Another small piece of housekeeping is that I end up doing a giveaway at the end of each month, or the start, I guess, of each month for the previous month. And I usually give away 4 books automatically, but if we get 15 comments on this video, I usually throw in an extra book. I think that 3 of the 4 videos got 15 comics, so this week we will be looking at about 7 extra books. I like to keep this open to people in the US, and I will do up to $15 shipping for international. Once again, I have these 3 books here. The Ghost Rider is my personal copy. I thought I grabbed an extra copy from my shop, but I did not. But I will be throwing that book in, and I'll probably be grabbing an indie that came out this month because for whatever reason, I think I am short a book. I thought I have one. I might have one somewhere lurking in the background, but I thought I had an extra book, and maybe I don't. So make sure you leave a comment if you are here, and if you haven't already, please consider giving me a subscribe. And now we are talking about my spec rec of the week for March 2nd. This is a book that I think a lot of people are probably going to be talking about because it is a big role. I think this book is Strange #1. This is where Celia becomes the new Sorcerer Supreme, so she is taking over for Doctor Strange. And there is also a first appearance of a character named Harvest Man. All the covers for this are fantastic. The A cover is usually what I like to recommend because I feel like A covers normally get the most overall. They seem to hold value the most, but there is also a art germ cover for this, and I think there is a virgin variant for it too. I am guessing that is going to be a variant ratio, but if you can get the normal art germ cover, I personally love art germ style, and I think usually even if a book doesn't take off, the art germ variants usually still hold value over time. So I would guess that, doing both of these should be good. This is also written by Jed MacKay, who has been killing it over there at Marvel. There are a ton of great covers for this. So let me know down below if you have a cover choice you are most excited for. Now we're getting into the covers. We still have, it appears to be 3 X1 variants, and I'm actually, as I'm looking at these, I definitely called one wrong previously. So I originally said this one was Jubilee, but what I'm going to see next year is that Jubilee is coming again. So if you know who that character is supposed to be, let me know. Apparently I got that one wrong. But the first one we have is for She-Hulk #2, and we are getting a David Nakayama Wolverine X-Gwen variant, which a lot of people have been talking about this. I think even people that aren't really into the X-Gwen variants are still probably going to pick this one up because David Nakayama is somebody that a lot of people really like to talk about. Then next up, we have the Fantastic Four, number 41, and this is the one where it's Jubilee, and I can definitely tell it's Jubilee because she's got the sunglasses, and in the background you kind of see her doing her thing, and there's actually a Jubilee picture back there, this is the first one that you actually see the character in the background, which is pretty cool. And I did talk about this one last week, but it is the Black Panther, number 4, which is going to be the Phoenix cover, which, yeah, that one did not come out this week. It looks like that has been pushed back. So once again, there is an extra one. I'm going to have to give it up to this Jubilee cover. I love it. I know that I'm probably going to get some flack for not picking the Wolverine one, but I really like the way that this one looks, and it fits kind of more of the style of things that I personally like about these covers. But let me know, of the 3 of them, which one did you like the best? And now we're to the part that everyone has been waiting for. And this is when we talk about the comics that I'm most anticipated for. So the first one, I got to talk about this one. This one has me hyped. And it is The Nice House on the Lake, number 7. It's back. This has been probably one of my favorite James Tynion books that he has been putting out. It has been fantastic. I love how eerie it is. It's kind of, while it's got these definite horror vibes, it also has this mystery factor that it's fitting towards me. I know a lot of people love Department of Truth, and I think that, the anthology style of the issues makes it me a little less invested, but this is a book that I think has been great. It has been on hiatus for, I want to say 6 months, and I am just pumped to get it back because I have been loving what's going on with The Nice House on the Lake. This is a DC Black Label book, which is very interesting, and I think this is going to be the final book that he does over at DC before he is gone. So once again, if you haven't already, I think that there has been a trade for the first 6 issues. If you haven't read it, I'd recommend grabbing it, but it might be, if you want to wait for all 12 issues, you can do that. But I personally think this is such a good book that I would recommend grabbing that trade and cracking it open. And we're already in to number 1s, which seems crazy to me, but the last few weeks it seems like they've been pumping out a ton of new number 1s that are all stuff that I'm very interested in and I want to read. And I think the first one up that I'm pretty pumped for is What If Miles Morales, number 1. This is What If Miles Morales becomes Captain America. I have been really digging Miles as a character. He is one of my daughter's favorite because of the show Amazing Spidey and his amazing friends. So just learning more and seeing cool stuff in these what if scenarios has been pretty cool. I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but the way that these are going to go is what if Miles became a certain hero, because I remember seeing a blurb about Miles Morales is going to be the next Hulk. So I think these are going to be fun little stories that are kind of their own thing, and it'll be a cool take to just kind of see, if Miles took over the mantle of other characters. So that's got to be my first number 1 that I pick. By all accounts, the next book that I'm picking is a number 1, but is also the start of a new season of a book that I really enjoyed last year. And this is going to be Red Room, trigger warning, number 1. This is from, he's doing it all, but it's Ed Piskor, and this is coming out from Fantagraphics Comics. I know a lot of people did not love Red Room. So the general basis is Red Room is based off of this kind of dark web internet torture website. And it's very cool. The one thing I really enjoyed is that each issue is kind of its own anthology and a standalone thing, but there was some cool stuff that happened. Like one of them was about one of the guys that helped design the site. So, you see all these different stories from different people within this crazy thing. And it's so different between, the people that actually are on screen murdering people versus a guy that just helped design the site. I've really enjoyed it. It is not for the weak at heart. When we're talking about horror stuff, this is more in the realms of Saw and Hostel, where it's going to be more gory, but I really like the way that kicked off. And I'm excited to see what more is coming in the Red Room. If I am lucky, which I probably will not be, but there is a stunning Peach Momoko variant for this. One of my favorite covers of last year was the Peach Momoko variant for Red Room number 1. And my friend David Byrne, who wrote the book Steak, ended up having an extra copy that he ended up sending to me. And that was a very nice thing to do. So I'm pretty sure Steak Volume 1 comes out trade paperback, and you should do yourself a service and go grab yourself that, because that book is also worth giving a read, because it is a fantastic book about vampires and social media, and that has nothing to do with Red Room. But I'm giving David a plug because he hooked me up with a variant cover that I really liked. Next up, we have another number one, and it's done by one person altogether again, and this is Follow Me Into Darkness number one. This is the follow-up to You Promised Me Darkness from Behemoth Comics. This is a very weird superhero-y book. It is all black and white, and some of the art gets kind of muddy, and it's weird because I would say, like, when you normally think of black and white, it's normally like mostly white with a little bit of black. This is mostly black with a little bit of white. It's kind of muddy in the way that the art works, but it's kind of this superhero style book, but it's definitely not in not all the superheroes are good. It's more of like kind of just people start getting powers because of this like apocalypse situation. And I really loved You Promised Me Darkness. It was kind of one of those things that was very weird. And once again, I know a lot of people also might have not loved that book, but I just loved how weird it was. There was this cat character in it that always had me laughing. And it was one of those books where, it's definitely different. So, this is definitely not for everyone, but me personally, I had a fun time with that first book, getting into it and just kind of getting it. You kind of definitely feel dirty after reading it, but it is such a great book. So I'm excited to see kind of where the story keeps going. And this is my final book, but I'm cheating and I'm putting 2 here. But I'm also asking you, the viewer, to let me know which book you think is more compelling and which one you think I should pick up. The first one is Radio Spaceman number 1. This is coming from Mike Mignola, is the writer, and artist Greg Hinkle. But I love this cover. It's a Mike Mignola cover, and they always sell me. I haven't read much of his work, but I would like to start to get into it. So let me read to you the synopsis of this book, and then I will get to the next one. When a ship crashes and lands on a mysterious planet and some of the surviving crew goes missing, the mysterious mechanical hero, Radio Spaceman, is called to investigate. But the planet hides much more than the missing crew, and Radio Spaceman may stumble into more than even he can handle. And this is actually just a 1 of 2. So there's only 2 issues, which I think for a lot of people, that's a very big selling point because, hey, you don't have to invest that much money into this to get in. But once again, this is only 2 issues. So if you end up getting it, this is something you don't actually have to invest that much into to really get into it. But the next book that I want to talk about is Rogue Sun number 1. If you watched last week, I talked about Supermassive, and I'm pretty sure Rogue Sun is getting their first appearance in that. I still have not yet read that because I just haven't had the time yet. But this is from writer Ryan Parrott, an artist I think just able. But Rogue Sun is another hero book in the Supermassive universe. And let me just read you the synopsis. Yesterday, New Orleans' greatest hero, Rogue Sun, was murdered. Today, rebellious teen Dylan Sigil discovers that the Rogue Sun was his estranged father, Marcus, and that he has inherited his father's mantle. Tasked with protecting our world from the forces of supernatural and solving his father's murder, Dylan will be forced to come to terms with the man he spent the majority of his life hating, which that definitely sounds pretty intriguing. So I think we have 2 kind of very different but cool, superhero books that are definitely based upon murder, which is kind of funny because I did not read these synopses before I picked them. I just knew that these were 2 books that I was interested in reading, and that kind of turns out funny. But let me know down below, is Rogue Sun the book I should get? Is Radio Spaceman the book I should get? Do you think I should just grab them both and put whichever one I like less into this pile of books that I'm giving away? You let me know and I'll go from there. And as I already mentioned, there is a giveaway. These are some of the books that you can read. I'm probably not giving away that Ghost Rider just because that is the one for my collection, but I thought I grabbed an extra copy, but I was mistaken and I did not. So I will grab one when I get to the shop. I did say that I'm pretty sure there were 3 weeks we hit 15 and 1 we did not. So this month, if you guys can leave 15 on every video, there will be an extra book added for each week. So this one we will only be doing 7. I normally cater these extra books to the person who wins. As I've mentioned, this is for if you are outside of the US, I will put up to $15 for shipping into this. But let's give it a spin and see who won. And once again, thank you guys for coming in here, leaving comments, letting me know what you like. And yeah, it's been great to get the interaction. And it looks like we got Steve winning these books. So congratulations, Steve. I will hit you up later. Or who knows, maybe you'll hit me up. But that has been it. These have been my most anticipated comics. Let me know if there's something that I missed here. I do want to say that if you're here on Friday or Saturday watching this, I will be going live on the Comic Burrito at 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'll have them linked up here. We'll be doing our Golden Burritos Awards. We're talking about our favorite books that came out. So that is something that I think you should check in. And if you have not, you're here and you're watching me and you haven't seen Comic Burrito, it is a show that I have been on for the past 2 years. And I haven't been on the live streams as much just due to being, having to deal with my son. And it's been kind of hard to really want to interact with the show when I have a crying baby, because I know how sometimes people do not love that. But once again, I'm Cole. Thank you all for coming by and watching me ramble on about which books I'm excited to read, because this has been a ton of fun for me. And yeah, if I missed anything you're excited about, let me know down below, because I love hearing about it. So as always, I'm Cole, and peace. My most anticipated comics for March 2nd, 2022.